Hello Islanders and welcome back to Sunny Isle. As you can see, we're facing a couple of issues at the moment. We've got a fire ripping through our town of Ruben. The way we built this city with lots of narrow roads has probably contributed to the destruction, where the buildings are much closer together and where we've added new public transport lines, the roads have a lot more congestion. And the 4 fire trucks that we had on the other side of the river just were not cutting it. And when we placed down the new firehouse in the previous episode, we did see that they immediately set out to help battle the blaze. Now that I've added the extension garage to both of those fire stations, we have an extra 8 fire engines out tackling the blaze. You can see down here they're out and about, and to be honest, they are doing a pretty good job. This is a lot less worse than what it was before. And I believe, and this is quite optimistic, that most of this will be saved now that we've got the new fire trucks out on the streets, and this should eventually dampen out. But given that we've got complete destruction of this area, I think this gives us a really good reason to redevelop the road system around here and potentially reserve some space for new city services. One area that I'd particularly like to remove is this industrial area that we've got in between these 2 beach coves. If you take a look at the ground pollution, yeah, you can see it's quite bad in this area. So I'm going to remove the zoning, and then over time, it does take a while, but over time this should resolve itself and we'll be able to have residents live here if we want to, but for the time being we might want to place a park or build offices. But generally I'd like to increase the capacity of these roads coming through here and also upgrade some of these lanes that we've got. If I just turn that info view off, you'll be able to see a little bit better. Upgrade a few of these lanes into regular streets. I think I might leave most of the residential lanes as they are, since these don't really receive that much traffic. But as you can see down here, this central section of road is completely congested, and it hasn't helped adding the buses on here, and these cars have no other way to get around from one side of the river to the other, not without having to drive all the way out of town. We've got this bypass road which takes you up to the top here. So yeah, I think a second bridge along here, which I think we can pay homage to the fire. I'm thinking we might be able to name that Phoenix Bridge. And then I'd like to create a new economic corridor that takes this road all the way through to the Valley Commercial Park and open up this whole area for development. The budget's not looking too bad. It's 160 minus per month at the moment. And I think if we speed the game up and we put the fires out, we should be able to get back into the green again. Okay, so most of the fires are out. We just got a few left down here, but I can't imagine they will be around for much longer. I can see we've got quite a few fire engines on site. We've almost got 1,000 casualties. Wow, that's pretty bad. And then 717 buildings. So the Great Forest Fire of September 2025, we'll have to memorialize that somehow. And let's just jump into the budget and let's just make some minor adjustments just so that we can save a little bit of money. I think healthcare we probably need to maintain. I think garbage management we could drop down to 60 since we've got that large incinerator plant. Education will probably keep the same along with fire and rescue. Police and administration, I think we could just save a little bit of money there since I'm not really seeing that much crime being reported at the moment. And with the transportation, we can't really edit that much because we do lose some buses, but let's just drop that down by 10% and you can see we've made quite a significant saving there, and everything else we'll just keep as is. And if we come back to our budget, we can see we've jumped way up back into the green, over 100k positive per month now. So I'm going to keep the speed at max so that we can start to increase our treasury and begin the rebuild process. Okay, so first of all, let's remove some of this zoning and preserve this space for a future build. And start to expand some of these roads so that we've got a lot more capacity through this area. This is especially useful if we want to upgrade any of these roads to use a custom or an asymmetric road in the near future, as well as give plenty of capacity for street parking. Coming back through the center of Reuben, we have this main road that has always struggled with congestion and traffic. We're upgrading that to a 3-unit wide road with 4 lanes and a median. And straighten up the road. Let's remove some of these traffic lights along here. And then coming around the corner up to the high school campus, we're also going to expand the road using the space that we reserved in the previous build. And ensure that we haven't got any traffic lights along here. Coming to the edge of town now, we've got this country road, rural highway, that can be now upgraded to use the 3-unit wide 4-lane road. And since we've got a pedestrian path on the road itself, we no longer need this dedicated pedestrian path that runs alongside the farms. Now it's a little bit awkward around the pump. However, I think if we just remove that road and place that back in, we should be good. And clean up the intersections to make sure that we don't have any traffic lights. I wasn't a fan of how straight this road was, so using the complex curve tool, we're able to connect the 2 ends of the segment to create a nice, smooth, sweeping curve. Alright, coming out of town, we're going to upgrade most of this rural highway so that we're opening up the area for development. And coming up to the roundabout that takes you onto Newbridge Road, that is the bypass road, we're going to increase the road width here also. And let's upgrade the roundabout. We haven't actually unlocked the roundabouts yet, so let's do that. And I really like this roundabout in this area, so let's upgrade it to something a little bit larger. Let's come back into the main city and start to build a new river crossing further upstream. Just need to make some space for this, as we will need to elevate it slightly to get over the water, and we can cut this road making it a cul-de-sac. Let's build one of these special bridges here. I think this looks really nice spanning the river, and then we can simply just plug this into the existing road network. We haven't gone too high with the bridge elevation here. We don't really expect any ships to pass through. At most you might get a canal boat or a small sailing boat, which are not a feature of the game as of yet. And let's remember to rename this Phoenix Bridge. And the last section we need to upgrade is between the city service area down Harbour Road towards the waterfront. Coming back to the old bridge crossing here, we can finish off expanding the road. And we can add one of these larger roundabouts here to help improve traffic flow. So I'd like to connect the Phoenix Bridge Road into the main road coming into the city. And I think to do that, we can come through the farmer's field here and avoid going too close to the elementary school. This should open up quite a bit of land around the main road, while also keeping the suburban areas a little bit quieter. And I think since we've got these strange angles here, this is the perfect opportunity to use a roundabout. But I do think there's too many entrances and exits connecting up, so we'll turn Emerson Street into a cul-de-sac. Now let's jump into the city policies view And I'm going to import city services so that we can get some fire and rescue vehicles into the city to help clear up the mess. Now, when you turn this on, there's no way to kind of select what service that you want. So it does end up being quite expensive. I think we're being, 3.4 million. That's a crazy amount. And I think I can't see any more coming in. So we'll just turn it off for now and they should complete their tasks and then leave the city. So you see this whole area is pretty clear now, and I think we might be able to rebuild our school now. There we go, fantastic. And it looks like these haven't received any service, so we'll have to come back to that in the near future. Let's put this fan back into the right spot. Okay, so now we've got a full network of widened roads going through our downtown area. This allows much more throughput of traffic and emergency vehicles. So I'm going to take a look at the road builder mod and create some custom roads that we can use in the city. I'd also like to introduce better public transport. The bus service that we put down spanning from the school district in Reuben down to the warehouse district has become overburdened with too many passengers, and this is the perfect opportunity to make these expensive infrastructure upgrades. For the tram depot, I think we'd like to place that at the end of the line, and we could have the line come out to the valley. So the road builder is an incredible, powerful mod that you can use to create custom road prefabs. And the way I'm using it is to complement the vanilla roads. At the moment, vanilla roads are of set sizes, so that you've got one unit which is 8 meters wide. You've got 2 units which is 16 meters wide, all the way up to 3 units which is 24 meters wide, 4 units which is 32 meters wide. When we edit and create new roads, that we aim to create roads that are either 8 meters, 16 meters, 24 meters or 32 meters wide. That should help us create a modular system where we can add our own custom roads onto vanilla roads. So the first road design that I've created is the asymmetric divided road. So this is a 2 unit wide road. We've got 2 lanes of traffic coming into the junction and 1 lane of traffic coming out of the junction. And we can use this same road on both sides of the segment, and we can complement it with a 4-lane road in the middle. This can then be further enhanced using the road service tools and applying a grass medium and grass verge, and also adding trees. The far side road can also accommodate a bus stop shelter with a bus pulling lane. Next up, we've got the asymmetric road with a parallel tram. So with this one, similar to the other road that we just worked on, we have 2 lanes of traffic entering the junction and 1 lane of traffic exiting the junction. A second version of this road, with all the lanes mirrored, allows us to create a reversible asymmetric road with a parallel tram lane. Do need to have 2 different road designs to be able to use this type of road. To complement this road design, I've also created a 2-lane version with a wider medium in between, which allows the placement of a tram stop on both sides of the track. With the tram stop in place, you can now upgrade the nodes either side using the road service tools to add a crossing to allow better access for pedestrians. This will also add traffic lights, so if you wish to, you can also remove the traffic lights by right-clicking on these nodes. This should give greater access to pedestrians. Now, following a similar principle to the previous road, except using highway roads, these lanes have been resized to be 4 meters wide instead of the standard 3, and this allows for a higher speed. We've managed to maintain a straight lane on both sides of the road so that we don't have any awkward lane changes, and they should only really need to come into the second lane when they need to turn right. And if you're feeling a little bit fancy, you can reduce the lanes down to 2 adding a medium in between the two lanes. So I'll just show you what this looks like. So we've got the two tracks for the trams, then we've got a single lane of traffic on each side. But to make sure that we're adding up to 3 units, I did have to add a small shoulder onto the inside lane, and that helps maintain the width. So this design, I'd say, is more appropriate for straight sections of road where you have few intersections, and then use the asymmetric road to allow for better right turns. So let's take a quick look at the Valley commercial area. I think we need to revisit this area again in the future. I think there's potentially a lot of opportunity here to really develop this area into a destination, especially now that we've got this tram stop, this light rail station. It's going to be a lot easier for people to either live here and head into town for work and for shopping, or even vice versa, have people visit this area. And while this level crossing across this main road isn't ideal, I don't think we are going to have that many people use this stop for now. And in the future we can look to add a pedestrian footbridge as well as widen this road, because at the moment we've got this bus stop here which is simply just loading and unloading onto this alleyway, and I imagine this is going to cause quite a lot of congestion in the near future. And I think it might be quite daunting to cross this road without any stoplights, so I might just add those in here. There we go. So anyone using this footpath now should be able to get across without worrying about traffic, and also traffic should be able to flow through without having to look out for any pedestrians. Now this junction over here is quite complex, and I think having this entrance to the commercial site up here isn't ideal, and we might want to combine these in the future. And the other side of the commercial park has got a very simple kind of T-junction, which we did have some issues in the past with vehicles coming out and kind of blocking this lane, but I think with this angle coming in closer to 90 degrees, we might not have this issue. And you can see here we had a vehicle pause there, which was quite nice, and it allows a better flow of traffic. Now if we just come back up to this section here where we used to have the roundabout, I've created this T section, which I'm not entirely in love with. I think having these lights are super useful when you've got quite a dense urban area where you want to control the flow of pedestrians, but I think in this more rural setting a roundabout would be nice. So I'm going to rework these roads and bring in a nice large roundabout. That's the custom roundabout I've put in. It's a little bit funky. It was very difficult to keep this quite small, and I'm not 100% sure it's going to work very well. I would love it if there were some giveaway lines on these entrances to the roundabout. And I think the only way to do that is to add more lanes to the middle. So if you were to grab the 3-lane highway, and if we just upgrade a couple of these just to show you an example, yeah, look, you get the giveaway line. So maybe we do that. It looks like it will let us do it, and that should improve the flow of traffic. But we do get this weird ghosting effect down here, so yeah, I'm not entirely happy with this. We might need to come back and rework it. I wonder if we just reduce the size of the radius a little bit, we'll be able to bring those ghosted roads back in. Oh, I think I might just leave it like it was, and we'll just have to monitor the situation. It's not perfect, but I think it'll work great. Yeah, I can already see there's issues with people stopping on the roundabout. How about if we downgrade these to the 1-lane road and then see if we can do something with the road builder. Yeah, looks like that works. So if we're using the road builder, we place down the 1-lane highway road and we go into road builder and then we add an extra lane on there. It appears to add the yield signs. You can see down here these little triangle things, and then along with the shark teeth on the road, which denotes giveaway. So we just need to apply this road to all the other entrances to the roundabout, and then we should be in a good place to see this working quite efficiently now. I'm happy that we're able to do that in the game. Yeah, let's give it a spin, shall we? Let's pump up the speed and clear the UI. Yeah, that appears to be working absolutely amazingly well. A lot better than I expected. What's great about these 3-lane wide roads is you can add the grass medium along with the trees and also retain the parking on both sides. Whereas if this was being used for that 4th lane, if you wanted to add the grass and trees, you would end up losing the parking. Okay, so I think that's all the main roads kind of set up how I'd like. And we just need to add a few more tram stops along our new tramway and set up a new line. So first, we've got the bus route that goes through the area. I'm just going to delete that for now. Actually, no, let's not delete it. Let's reduce the stops because we don't have the tram running all the way through to the warehouse district. And I'd like to keep the bus running through that area. So we just remove those, and then we need to remove the one by the back of the high school. And then if we come through here, that one's gone already. This one needs to go. And it looks like I must have missed one somewhere. Yeah, we've got a little waypoint there, so let's remove that. And this is the much shorter route that the bus takes now. I'm not happy with the way it comes around this block. I think what we can do is we can sneak a little alleyway behind what will be a nice little shopping area once we convert this into the old town. So let's place that along here. Let's imagine the shops around about 4 deep, maybe, or 5 deep. Yeah, let's come to here. There we go. That gives the buses a way to get around. And it looks like we may have lost the bus stop, so we can use the one that's still there. So we'll have the first trams stop, which will be the start of the line. So this is the old town. Well, what I've been calling the old town, since the new town will be built where the devastation happened. So let's formalize that by calling that old town. This should create a crossover track on this junction here. So let's have the pedestrians wait on this side. The icon's not going, but it does give us this crossover track here so that the trams that come to this stop can reverse back out and join back onto the opposite track. The next couple of stops, I think I'd like to place one around here in this section of the neighborhood, and then one on this corner here to help serve this area. So we've got these fairly evenly spaced out. One in the old town, one in the Reuben River Delta area, and then we've got these two in the Reuben downtown area. And I think we could place another one here, just as kind of like the last one before you leave town. And then of course we'll keep the one up by the Valley Commercial Center. I think as this road is being created to increase economic growth, I think it's fine placing a tram stop there for now, and it should encourage some sort of development in this area in the future. Alright, so we've got our stops in now. We just need to create the line. So we'll start up here, and then we'll just come down. And got to be careful to select the right stops, but it looks like everything's working. We've got 2 stops on the end here, but we only need the one, and then we just need to bring that back. And then we'll stop on the opposite side of the road, and then that should complete the route. Perfect. So let's go to our transportation view. Let's open up the tram line. We'll call this the Sunny Scunny Light Rail 1. So the SSLR1. Since we do want to have more of these in the future, let's add a little dash. And let's have a look at the line itself. So we're using the Colossal Order tram, which I'm happy with. It means that we can use different colored lines through the city while all the trams stay the same color. And the ticket price I'm going to drop down to $3. And the number of assigned vehicles, I will just keep that at 5 for now. And we've got this running during day and night, and I'm not going to mess around with this. I'll just keep it as it is. So let's have a look at the first vehicle. Oh yeah, this looks great. Traveling through, coming to the first stop here. Doesn't need to. Changing sides for some reason. Reversing in. I wonder whether there's an issue with the stop placement here. Let's have a look. Or maybe the stop on this side is the first one. Yeah, that's probably the case. Let's just speed up to see what that's doing. No, I've screwed up something. I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, so it looks like I've screwed up my stops, so let's just remove those. So it did appear that I'd misplaced pretty much every stop on the line. So if you're using these custom roads, I highly recommend just zooming in and dragging it onto the exact stop that you want. But generally speaking, this should all be working now. Let's have a look at some of our stops. How's this one at the end of the line doing? Oh yeah, look, we've got loads of people here. How many have we got on this? Is this the... yeah, this is the stop here. So we've got 96 people waiting, which is pretty good because I think the trams can hold more than that. But this taxi stand is a little bit worrying. I don't want the people to queue off the side of the intersection and potentially block the street, so I'll just move that up a little bit. And it looks like that's reset a lot of the pathfinding for the sim, so maybe they'll use the tram instead. Well, hopefully so at least. Yeah, pretty chuffed with that. And yeah, we gave the line a name, and they can also transfer here and get onto the local bus that takes them down to the warehouse district. And I think we do need to rename that one as well. So this is no longer going to Reuben. This one is going to Old Town and finishes at the warehouse district. And we're getting pretty healthy usage on the buses still. It's the middle of the day. We've got around about 30 to 60% usage. And I imagine the trams won't be accurate yet. It's only 8%. But the trams can hold a lot of passengers, and if they're being moved around and being dropped off quite quickly, we might not get a true representation of how many people are using it. But yeah, look at this. Very, very popular. Let's jump into Road Builder and let's pause the game so we don't cause any destruction. We can try to resolve it by the time we finish this. So we'll just, oh no, we don't want to edit all instances. We want to create a template from this version. So use as a template, and we want to remove this tram track. But since we're left-hand drive, I do know some of these lanes don't act accordingly, so we'll just be careful here. So let's remove that one. Okay, that seems to have worked. We have dropped down to 2.6 units though, so I wonder if there's a way to add an extra lane onto this. I think we could add an extra vehicle lane, or we can simply just bump these up by 1.5 each. So that's 4.5, that's 5. And then we can do the same on this side. Yeah, that's fine. And then we can allow parking. And then this has added the trees onto the tram side. So yeah, the mod is still in development, and I believe it works great for right-hand drive cities. Left-hand drive cities, not so much, but there's always a workaround, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So we can rename this as the 2-lane parallel with single tram, and that should save, and we close that and we save it, and yeah, we've got no more notification or symbols of any issues. Let's see if the tram line is still connected. Yep. And the finishing touch here would be to add one of those little rail bumpers. So let's go into find it. There we go, that's perfect. Yeah, so we just need to align this up nicely, turn on Anarchy, pop that on the end there, and yeah, I think that looks great. That looks good to me. We got the tram coming in. Does it clip with it? No, that looks good. And yeah, pretty happy with the overall progress of the city. We've got lovely new large wide boulevards going through the center. We've also dedicated space to public transport and pedestrian access, and I think this will lay the foundations for a great city and a great downtown area, especially around here where we've got space to develop. I think we could potentially look at removing this road in between here and place the city hall, and then also use this space here as the memorial park to all those that were lost in the fire. So I appreciate everyone joining on this video today. It was a little bit of an odd one, kind of jumping into one of the newest mods on the PDX website, and it's pretty exciting what you can do. I've included a save game in the description where you can access all the new roads that I've built. I'm not entirely sure how they will work in the right-hand drive cities, but you can give them a go. Let me know how you get on with them, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.